Thank you, Phil, for taking the time to talk to us and answer our questions. That was absolutely fascinating. I imagine we have some budding archaeologists in Malmesbury who'd like to follow in your footsteps now and do a dig here in town. We are still looking for the bones of King Athelstan. But we're moving on now. And for those of you who are interested in music, it's time to go to Zoom for a concert of traditional music played on the mandolin by David Moss. David is from Bradford-upon-Avon and is a regular visitor to Malmesbury to play music for events at Burnham Court and elsewhere. Or you can stay here and do some crafting. Don't worry if you don't get all the instructions the first time round. The video will stay up on YouTube so you can watch it again later. For the concert, just log into the Zoom website. The meeting number is 860-1770-0043 and the password is 262597. The details are on our website if you didn't get all that. If you're off to listen to David, we'll see you when you get back. But if you're staying here for the craft sessions, here's Francis Smith with a demonstration.
So now what are we going to make? We're going to make this fierce dragon, as you can see here. So what are you going to need to make that fierce dragon? Well, you're going to need a toilet roll or the inside of a kitchen roll, or perhaps if you've got a cardboard tube lying around. You're going to need some coloured paper. It doesn't really matter whether it's green or whatever you've got available. You'll also need some sellotape or alternatively some glue. You'll need a pencil and some scissors and a ruler. Okay, so what do we need to do to start? Well, the first thing we need to do is to cover our toilet roll. So you're going to take your first sheet of paper, and what you're going to do is you're going to lay your toilet roll on your sheet of paper to work out how far you need to cut it. So if you roll it along the paper like this and just make a few marks with a pencil, like so. Then you're going to take your ruler and you're going to join up the marks that you made on the paper, like so. And then with your scissors, you're going to cut your coloured paper. As I said, it doesn't have to be green, it can be any colour whatsoever. It's whatever you've got at hand at the moment, because obviously we appreciate that people can't get out and about. So what you're now going to do is you're going to take your coloured paper and your roll, and you're going to take a piece of sellotape. If you don't have sellotape to hand, you can use glue, but obviously what you'll need to do is to wait for the glue to dry a bit. But you're going to cut a little bit of sellotape and you're going to attach it to the end of your coloured paper, like so, and then you're going to attach it tightly to the tube like that, so that as you roll it, it sticks to the tube. Now you're going to go round the tube like this, and then you'll have a little bit of excess. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your ruler, mark a line here, cut along your paper, and discard that piece for the moment, and you're going to roll it back round your tube. Now if you've got a mum or a dad in the house, or a brother or a sister, they might be able to help you hold it. You're then going to need to take another piece of sellotape and you're going to attach your sellotape. So I'll just put that there for one moment while I just cut myself a piece of sellotape. I'll just put it there. Well, this is why I said it's sometimes helpful to have somebody to help you do this craft. You're then going to stick the sellotape across the join, like so, and that forms the body of your dragon, and that will be the back of your dragon. What you now want to think about are the wings of your dragon. Now you can have whatever size, shape, what have you want for your dragon. I think I'm going to stick with the gold paper again, but again, any colour that you have, you can use. This gold paper, when you hold it up against the tube, is probably a bit too high. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold it in half. And what I'm going to do is cut across, because I only want to use half of my gold paper. So that will then form the basis of my wings. Now you want your wings to be symmetrical, which means they'll be the same on both sides. So you're going to take your coloured paper and fold them in half. And then you're going to think about what you want your wings to look like. So following this one, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do some points up and some points across and across like this and across and across. But again, it really doesn't matter as long as you think they look like wings. You could even perhaps have some straight wings just like that if you wanted to. Then get your scissors and you cut round your drawn lines. And again, if it's easier, ask an adult to help you. As you can see, I'm not cutting perhaps as close to my lines, but it doesn't really matter as long as they end up and you're happy that they look like wings. So there you go. I think they look quite wing-like. So you're going to take the back of your tube like so, and again what you're going to do is you're going to have to reach for some more sellotape. And you're going to take the back of your wings and pin them with the sellotape along the back there. And what I do just to make it stronger is I then looped my sellotape inside as well. So there you go, there's the wings. Next thing you're going to want to think about is a tail. So what you're going to want to think about here is cutting a long strip. And I think I'm going to go for a gold tail this time. So with my leftover gold paper, I'm going to cut a strip that's probably tail width, so probably, what's that, 2 or 3 centimetres would be tail width. But what you're going to want to do is to make a point at the end of the tail. So you're going to get to the bottom of the tail and cut one point there and one point there, and then you're going to want to make it slightly narrower. So you're going to make a slight point there, a slight point there, and then cut up and make your strip slightly narrower. There you have a very pointy tail. So what you're going to do again is grab some more sellotape. Again, if you've got glue, you can do it with glue as well, but as I said, it might take you slightly longer. You'll have to wait for the glue to dry. So just take a little bit of sellotape, cut a bit off, stick it on the bottom of the tail like so. And then what you're going to do is you're going to put your fingers inside the tube and you're going to stick the sellotape in like that. And then you're going to fold the tail up like so, so you can see it at the side of the dragon, making sure that the sellotape stays in place. Okay. And the next thing to think about is a face for your dragon. Now I'm going to admit that it took me a couple of attempts to get this face right for this dragon, but there is no right or wrong for it. You can try and do a dragon shape like this, which I'll try and do in a minute. You could do just a circle or an oval. It doesn't really matter. It's entirely up to you. As I said, it's a mystical dragon, so you can choose what you want it to look like. So again, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do my dragon's face in gold, and I'm just going to turn this one around so I can have a quick look at it to try to remind myself of what it looks like. So you're going to cut a slight oval shape at the bottom if you're going to try and do the dragon face like I've got. Then cut slight cheekbones out of it, so a slight round bit. And then you're probably going to want some horns of some description. So you're going to want to go up like so, and then across the dragon's head, cut some more horns. Do a bit more of a cheekbone, and then come round to the face, like so. As I said, it can look however you want it to look. Before you do anything with it then, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to do your dragon's face. Now I'm very lucky here in that I have some leftover googly eyes. So ordinarily what I would do is I would get some glue and I would stick some googly eyes onto here. But I'm sure that not everybody will have googly eyes. So what I suggest that you do is you draw some eyes. I'm sure we've all got felt pens, so we can draw an eye. And again, they can be as big or as small as you want them to be. The key thing then for a dragon is to draw his nose, because as you know, dragons quite often have fire coming out of their noses. So you're going to want to draw some big fiery snouts. Like so. Okay. Then what you're going to want to do is to stick that onto the front of your dragon. Now this is where you might want to use a bit of double-sided sellotape, so it's where you fold the sellotape over a couple of times, or if you've got glue to hand, it's probably a lot tidier and neater to actually put some glue onto your dragon's head. So you just put a few dots of glue, or a little line of glue there. I'm using just PVA. Obviously if you had a Pritt stick, that would serve well as well, or any other type of paper glue. Then what you're going to do is you're going to affix his face like so, and then obviously what you're going to want to do then is wait for that to dry. That's going to take a little bit of time, so I'll just lay him on his side while his face dries. What I then suggest that you do is it's free rein to decorate your dragon. So what you might want to do is you might want to draw some scales on your dragon. So if we look at this, let's draw some scales. And you might want to draw some patterns on the tail. It's entirely up to you how you want to decorate your dragon. But there you go. By the time the glue has dried, you should have a finished product of a fierce, mystical dragon. Thank you for your attention this afternoon. Hope you enjoyed making that.
Thank you for that, Frances. It was really good. In fact, I love the googly eyes. They're great. And as it's simple to make, I might even have a go at doing one later myself. Anyway, here's Frances again, showing us this time how to make a stained glass window.
Hello and welcome to the St Aldhelm's Day Arts and Crafts session. Today we are going to be making a medieval stained glass window, and later on we will be making a fierce dragon. I'm very much hoping that with this lockdown that most of you will have these materials or similar at home to enable you to join into these activities. Now for the stained glass window, what you're going to need is, first of all, you're going to need either a sheet of tracing paper, or alternatively, if any of your parents, mums, dads, have got baking parchment, which is very similar to this. You'll also need some sort of coloured paper. I've used black, but it could be orange, it could be any colour, anything you've got available that will make the frame for the stained glass window. I'm sure lots of you will have pens at home. I've got a selection here of highlighter pens and Sharpie pens. Felt tips will equally do as well. You'll also need a ruler, some scissors, some sellotape, or alternatively glue. Okay, so we'll start on this particular project. So I'll put the black card to one side. So you get your tracing paper and you're going to decide what you want to draw on your stained glass window. As you'll see here, I've actually gone for just a geometric pattern at the end of the day, quite random, probably because I'm not very good at drawing, but you might perhaps want to draw a knight, or a princess, or a castle, or a coat of arms. But let's keep it simple on this occasion and just have some geometric lines. So you're going to take a black felt pen. I've got a Sharpie here, and your ruler, and your piece of tracing paper or parchment paper. And what you're going to do is just draw some geometric lines. Anything you'll do at the end of the day, doesn't really matter. To me, this just looks like different panes of glass all joined together. Then you can make it as complicated or as simple as possible. I'll make this relatively simple. Then you just select your colours. I'll just go for green first of all, and you start your colouring in. And what you're going to do is obviously try and colour within the black lines. As many colours as possible will make your picture look very, very bright and colourful. But obviously, don't worry if you've only got a few colours at home. Just do some different colours, just to make it look pretty. Now I'm just going to stop at this point, but what I'd hope that you would all be doing is obviously completing your whole of your piece of paper. So colour it all in as I've done on this piece of paper. Then what you're going to do is you're going to take your other piece of coloured paper. As I said at the beginning, it doesn't matter what colour it is. I've got an orange piece here, or a black piece here. You're going to, hopefully, it'll be slightly bigger than your parchment paper. If it's not, cut your parchment paper a little bit to size. What I'm now going to do is, as you can see here, I'm going to make a frame for my stained glass window. So I'm just going to simply take my ruler and take my pen and just draw around my piece of parchment paper, trying to hold it still at the same time. You might need an adult if you're slightly younger to help you with this so it doesn't move. Perhaps I need an adult to help me hold it. And then what you're going to do is you're going to cut out your frame. Now again, if you're slightly older and you're quite adept with using scissors, that's fine. But if you're slightly younger, you might want to ask mum, dad or somebody, an adult in the house to help you with this. So you're going to then follow your lines and poke your scissors through. Be very, very careful because obviously scissors can be sharp. And you're going to follow your lines. Trying to cut as straight as line as possible. Alternatively, those that of you who are much slightly more creative, you might want to make it look like an arched window, or a square window, or a round window. It's really your choice. This is just giving you some ideas of what to do. You're then going to take your coloured bit of paper, which obviously, as you know, I haven't quite completed. You're going to then turn it over, find yourself some sellotape, and literally cut yourself a couple of pieces of sellotape, and you're going to stick your window to your frame. As such. And then when it's all completed, what you'll want to do, so if we refer back to the original one that I finished, is ask your mum and dad if you could then put it in a window. And as the sun shines through it, you'll see that it looks like the stained glass windows of our local abbey. Anyway, I hope you enjoy making that activity. Thank you.
Thank you again for that, Frances. We'll enjoy making some window decorations, and I look forward to seeing some around the town over the next few days. Now we have Helen Chapman with a video showing us how to make Knucklebones, a medieval children's game.
Are we ready?
We're ready.
Oh, hang on. Makeup! Thanks. Hi and welcome to Medieval Makes. Today we're going to make our own modern version of a medieval game called Knucklebones. So this game was played with a stone and some bones. Ew. It's a game of dexterity and it's a bit like jacks. You'll need to ask your mum and dad. To start, player 1 throws the bones onto a flat surface. Then they have to throw the stone into the air and with the same hand pick up a bone before they catch the stone. A bit like this. The game continues with the player catching the stone for every bone until there's none left. They then move on to round 2, where it gets a bit more complicated. The bones get thrown. Oops. And the player needs to pick up 2 bones with 1 throw. I would demonstrate this, but I'm not very good. And the bones are horrible.
So rather than get you to raid the Abbey grounds, we thought it would be a good idea to make a newer version with some things that you've got at home. So these are our new bones. And we're going to make these little shapes. So what you're going to need is the template, which is downloadable from the website, some fairly thin card, as it needs to be folded. For a bit, without me. Okay. So rather than get you to raid the Abbey grounds, we thought it would be a good idea to make a newer version with some things that you've got at home. So these are our new bones. And we're going to make these little shapes. So what you're going to need is the template, which is downloadable from the website, some fairly thin card, as it needs to be folded, an edge for scoring, a medieval ruler, a tool for scoring, we're just using a biro, scissors, a drop of glue, and we're going to cheat now and use a bouncy ball because it's a lot easier than a stone. So you can either print your template directly onto your card, like this one, or you can print your template onto a piece of paper and draw around it onto your card. So you need to cut out your shapes, including the little tabs, on the solid line rather than the dotted line. So this should take you 5 minutes. And there we go. We've got our little shape all ready to be scored. So I'm going to use my medieval ruler and my biro, and I'm just going to score lines along the dotted areas. And this will just help you fold it into shape. And before we glue our shape together, just going to bend it on the score line so it's easier for applying the glue. And there you go, you can already see how it's going to take shape. So all I'm going to do now is just dab a little bit of glue along the tabbed edges and form the shape. give it a little moment for the glue to set. Last lid on our cube. And there we have it, our first shape. Let it stick a bit. There we go. So you need to make probably around 5 shapes to have a decent game. And I did them in different colours and different shapes, so we can put a different twist on the game if you want to play with somebody else at home. And there you have it, your lockdown game of knucklebones. If you're playing with others, if you're locked down, you might want to get somebody to shout out the colour or the shape of the bone that you need to pick up. And we're going to use the bouncy ball this time. Ready? The bouncy ball isn't very bouncy.
So as the ball is bouncier on the table, we're going to do it on the table. Ready? Yay! So have fun with your new game, and when you've finished you could even make it into a little garland to hang in the window. Thanks for watching. Stay safe. See you soon.
Thank you, Helen. We're grateful to everyone for sharing their skills and talents to keep us occupied while we're tucked away indoors. I'd like to welcome back everyone who's rejoining us after David Moss's mandolin concert. You're just in time to see Hector Cole, who's going to show us some artisan skills that we really don't want you to try at home. Hector is a blacksmith who makes authentic historical weapons. He has a worldwide reputation for the forging of high quality historic arrowheads, and his reputation is based on years of blacksmithing experience. Hector specialises in the reconstruction of archaeological artefacts using the same materials and techniques of ancient smiths, as you'll see in the videos. We're going to watch him forging a medieval war bodkin or arrowhead. The arrows it tipped would have been used with the longbows that you've probably seen before and may even have tried using in the cloister gardens. Hector gives courses in longbow making from his workshop, and you can find out more from his website.
Okay.
In this next video, we can see Hector using an earlier Saxon design to make a Saxon tanged arrowhead. He'll explain the difference between that and the medieval bodkin arrowhead.
What I'm going to show this time is how to forge a Saxon leaf-shaped arrowhead with a tang as opposed to a socket, because a number of the Saxon arrowheads were tanged and they were then put on the shafts by making a hole in the end of the shaft, inserting the head and then binding it on with either a wire or cord or even sinew. With a tang head, you start with the point first, so I'm going to make the point. The next stage is to neck on the wicker blade behind the point to make a rest, so that we get the correct shape for the leaf when I hammer the leaf out. The next stage is to then flatten that head, the blade of the head, out into a leaf shape, and it's done on the diagonal, not on the flat. general leaf shape of the head. Just needs a little truing up to get it running level. That's better. And from there, the next stage is to make the socket. Having made the head, I'm now going to forge the tang down, and once that's done, the final stage will be to just file or grind up the shape of the head. We have typical Saxon tanged arrowhead. Yeah. This is the arrowhead when it has been ground up, ready for use. They were highly effective against the shields of the Saxon warriors. They would actually penetrate the shield, splitting the wood, and were highly effective against the armour and the mail that they wore at the time.
If you're interested in weaponry, it would be a great treat to do one of Hector's workshops if you can. But if music and dance are more your thing, then we've got a real treat for you now. Malmesbury Morris are going to show us some steps and some of their dances so you can have a go. They'll also explain the musical accompaniment that goes with their dancing. Deborah Clogg will introduce the Morris dancing, and Malmesbury Morris will take it from there.
Hello, I'm Deborah, Squire or Chair of Malmesbury Morris. We know that there's been Morris dancing in Malmesbury since at least 1641, because there's a record of the boys from Malmesbury having a bust-up with the boys from Long Newton, which certainly involved bells and sticks. However, Morris dancing had died out in the area. In 2004, a group decided that they'd like to resurrect it. With the help of Chippenham Town Morris, a new style of dancing was developed for Malmesbury, which is known now as the Malmesbury tradition. So tradition in this context just meaning style. Since that time, a number of our side have written other dances in that style, and also tunes to go with those dances. The original group was a mixed side, but over time the male dancers have left, although we do have still male musicians playing with us. As well as the Malmesbury tradition, we also dances from other areas of England, Cotswold style and Border style in particular, and we'll tell you more about that later. Nobody's quite sure of the origins of Morris dancing, but the word Morris may derive from Moorish, and the dancing may have started in Spain at the time of the Moors, that is the North African Muslims who at that time were ruling in Spain. It's certainly been going for many hundreds of years in England, and famously Will Kemp, who acted with Shakespeare, danced all the way from London to Norwich at the end of the 16th century. There are a number of different styles of Morris dancing. As we live in the Cotswolds, the one we mainly see in this area is called Cotswold Morris. The dancers will predominantly be wearing white. They'll often be using hankies, sometimes sticks. A key ingredient of good Cotswold Morris is a well-synchronised dancing, good formations, crisp stepping and good high jumping. It was originally almost entirely a men's dance, but certainly since the First World War and very much now, women are at least, I would say, 50% of the dancers. Many sides for Cotswold and other forms of dancing are now mixed, with some entirely female sides, like Malmesbury Morris at the moment. Another style of Morris dancing is border. This comes from the border between England and Wales originally, although it's danced all over the country now. It's a popular style because it's very vigorous, involves lots of bashing of sticks, often some shouting as well. The dancers very often wear tatters, that is strips of material fixed to a jacket or a waistcoat, and they often wear colourful hats as well. The third form of dancing, Morris dancing, is Northwest clog, and it originated in the dancing by the mill workers in the Northwest, and they still use representations of the bobbins from the mills with ribbons attached, which they will use in their dances where other types of dancing use hankies or sticks. The final type of Morris I'll describe is called rapper dancing. These days we think of rapping as being musical poetry, but this form of dancing, which is very clever and fascinating to watch, involves long double-handled flexible metal swords which during the dance get woven into patterns, and often at the end one person can hold them all up attached together. Humphrey Morris took part in the world record-breaking gathering of Morris dancers. They've also danced at our twin towns in both Lidl and Jeanne with French and German dancers, and unfortunately, although this was also planned for Jeanne for this year, it's had to be cancelled for obvious reasons. Usually what we do for our dancing is during the summer we dance either with other sides or on our own at local pubs, the Radnor Arms, the Red Bull, the Horse Guards for example, and we also dance at folk festivals and days of dance such as at Stroud, Bradford on Avon and elsewhere.
We will now demonstrate the basic Malmesbury stepping.
Left, 2, 3, hop, right, 2, 3, hop, back, feet together, jump. Left, 2, 3, hop, right, 2, 3, back, feet together, jump.
Hello, I'm Aileen and I play piano accordion for MALMESBURY'S. The piano accordion is recognisable by the fact that it's got a piano keyboard on one side, and the other side it's got a series of buttons. These buttons always look daunting to people to start with, but they're actually organised rather well. So there's some notes, and there are some chords already provided, so you don't have to worry too much about getting your fingers around chords on the left hand that you can't see. And of course your left hand is already playing, it's already working the bellows. The piano accordion isn't a traditional instrument for MALMES. Traditionally it would, I believe, have been the pipe and tabor, but in the 19th century other instruments started to make their way into MALMES, probably as people were able to afford them. The piano accordion was probably quite late on the scene because it is really quite a recent instrument, and initially you could only get the full-size ones, which are about twice as big as this and about twice as heavy. It has the advantage of having a strong tune side and a strong bass side, so you've got the rhythm as well as the tune, and the dancers are supposed to be dancing to the rhythm. It does have the disadvantage though of being quite heavy. It's probably the heaviest instrument that's played for MALMES dancing. Most of the tunes that MALMES use are traditional tunes, but one or two of them are not, and that's including the one that I'm about to play, and that one is one that I actually wrote for the MALMES side.
Hello, my name's Sally. I'm a member of the MALMESBURY'S side. I play a little bit on the fiddle when we're a bit short of musicians, and I also do some dancing. So I'm just going to try and do a tune called Twin Sisters, and we dance the Fiddler's Lock for this one. And this is a tune that we play for a dance called Not for Joe, and it's actually, the tune is called Not for Joe.
I'm Margaret and I play descant recorder for Malmesbury Morris. I'm going to start with a tune called Portsmouth, which is for the dance Daniel's Well. The next tune I'm going to play is called Balance of Straw. It's for a dance called Athelstan, which is a new dance being developed by Malmesbury Morris.
I'm Janet and I'm one of the members of Malmesbury Morris. You've heard now about the history of our Morris dancing, and you've heard about our music and you've seen some of our dancing. Perhaps you'd like to join us. If you look on our Facebook page, which is fairly up to date thanks to Katie and Vicky, you'll see that we enjoy what we do, even if it sometimes takes quite a while to learn our dance. When everything gets back to normal, we'll be meeting again at our usual meeting place, which is Corston Reading Rooms at 7:45 on a Thursday evening. After we've finished practicing, we repair to the Gosnell Arms afterwards. But this is not compulsory, but we do have a good time there. So come and learn a new skill while we learn an old one. The exercise, the music and the laughing are all good for you. Bye for now.
Thank you, Malmesbury Morris. If you're interested in joining them, or if you just want to find out more, you can go to their Facebook page. Now, I'd like to introduce Maria Marsh, a member of Malmesbury History Society. The History Society is a small group of people interested in researching, writing about and sharing the history of Malmesbury and the surrounding villages. Maria will tell us about the ancient coin hoard that was unearthed near Malmesbury and which is now in the care of the Athelstan Museum.
I'm Marsh and I'm a volunteer at the Athelstan Museum. And currently, for the last couple of years, I've been managing the Malmesbury Coin Hoard Project, which consists of recording 1,266 bronze, copper alloy Roman coins that were found in Malmesbury and are going to go into the museum on display sometime in the future, hopefully the near future. And so they were found by metal detectors in 2012, and it has taken this long really to conserve the coins, purchase the coins, record the coins. The volunteers, we have about 30 volunteers, 10 that work at a time maybe on the coins, where they record everything that's on them. I'll show you that in a minute. But we have a website that you can follow us on. We do try to keep up with blogging and telling you what we've been up to and going into schools, which is lovely. And the kids love looking at the coins and handling the coins. So the volunteers have been very busy over the last year. And we, of course, are on a little break right now. So this is an opportunity to tell you about the coins. There are 1,266, as I said, and they all come from a very short range in time, from 286 to 317 AD. And the majority of our coins are minted in London and also in Trier in Germany and France. And we have a couple from Rome and Milan. And our furthest away comes from Croatia, which is pretty far and pretty cool. We have no idea how it got to Malmesbury. So these coins were buried in a pot, and they're considered a hoard. What that means, we don't know. We're making up, you can make up almost any story you want about a hoard. Why was it put in the field? Was it a field? Was there a building on top? Is it a ritual deposit? Was it a spring nearby? Was it a temple? Did they want to have a good crop, so they put all these coins every few years into a pot in the ground? Or is it somebody's savings? We'll never know for sure. But they do tell us a little bit of history about the Romans in the area in about 300 AD. So they were here, they were farming, they were living, they had money. What these coins were used for, we don't know. They probably went up the Cirencester market occasionally and bought some wine and olive oil, chickens, whatever they needed to live on, to live like Romans in the countryside. The thing about these wonderful coins is that they are little pieces of artwork. As you can see, they have really detailed drawings of the emperors on the coins and gods usually on the back or a temple, but they are so small and so intricate. It's amazing how they would have designed the coin die, that they would have struck the metal between two pieces of die, and then they would have hit the metal. And it would have taken a bit of effort, but it brought out these coins. And as you can see, they're not always perfect. Some of them are a little askew with the beading going around the coins. So they say on the front, the name of the emperor. This one says Im Constantinus, so Emperor Constantine. And this is how he put his mark and did his propaganda, basically. They would continually change the coins to different images of themselves. This is one of the most common ways that Constantine is presented, with the laurel leaf. So he's looking like your emperor, and he's wearing usually his armor. So he's showing that he is powerful. And on the back, he has the image of the god Sol, who he believed helped him in his power. So it's Sol Invictus Committee. So it's in all of us following the god Sol. Sol will lead us to wondrous things, basically. And at the bottom of the feet of the god Sol, or at the bottom of any god, is where the mint mark is. So this one, if I read, I think it says PLN or PTR. So PLN would be London. So London had a mint. And this mint only lasted for 60 years. And the majority of the coins in the hoard come from the London Mint, which is very exciting and unusual. So this would go out in all areas of the empire and travel around in somebody's money bag and get exchanged. But this would show the local Britons, if they were lucky enough to have coins and not just barter items, if they were lucky enough to see the coins, they would see what their emperor looked like. Now we have more than one emperor at this time, so our coins have different faces on them. And this is what the volunteers are looking at and recording. They measure, they weigh, they record every letter and every word and description on the coins so that there is a full record eventually in the museum of these coins. So what this is going to lead us on to are the coins that were minted in Malmesbury about, let me see if I do my math, 600 years later, 700 years later, in the Anglo-Saxon times, when Malmesbury was allowed to have a mint. Athelstan started reforming the money and started saying that coins had to be minted with the names of the moneyers on them, and he tried to regulate them, and then The next kings did this as well. King Edgar really put in some reforms, and he also stated that no town should be further than 30 miles away from a mint. So under King Ethelred II, Malmesbury got a mint. And here is King Ethelred. And the thing about him is he started reforming the coinage and started regulating, and they wanted all the coins across the country to be of the same weight, the same size, so that anywhere you went, it would be worth the same amount. So he started putting his name on the coins, and it says his name with Rex. So he's the King of England, or Britain rather, really, but England. So he started putting his face, it's facing the other way, but on the obverse you can see his head, and he's wearing what looks sort of like a toga and a spiky hairdo. But this was his imitation of the Roman coins of around 300 AD. So he was taking a similar design and putting them on his coins. He doesn't have the laurel wreath. There is one that he has a helmet on and looks very Roman, and his toga. So he's got his drapery, his name, saying that he is the king to be obeyed. And on the back, instead of having a god, he would have the cross, the long cross for Christianity. And he had his wish. And on back would be the munyer. Now that's a little different than the Roman coins, but the munyer, he could always be tried if he tried to cheat the government and make less silver in his silver coins and things. So we had the munyer, and you knew also what mint he was working at, and it would say Malmesbury or York or London and that kind of thing. And this says Malmesbury. So the Malmesbury mint actually didn't last too long, but it minted between Ethelred the Unready in 978, and it continued on into the Norman times until Henry II, and then it stopped producing coins. And the coinage kind of changed after that. So that is our... So we have coins in the museum, which you will have to go and see when we open again, eventually, hopefully in a couple months. And hopefully the Roman coin hoard will be on display sometime in the near future, next year as well. And that's our wonderful history of coins in Malmesbury. If you are interested, please do follow us on Facebook and Twitter. And if you wish to be a volunteer, do get in touch.
Thank you, Maria. That was great. It all goes to show that you never know what's beneath your feet when you're in a town like Malmesbury or nearby. That's it for the videos, but St Aldhelm's Day isn't over yet. Don't forget the talk by Tony McAlevey on Aldhelm and Malmesbury at 4 p.m. It's on Zoom and it's free. So just log into the Zoom website. The meeting number is 894-4809-8721. And the password is 719697. The details are on our website if you didn't get that, www.malmesbury.gov.uk. But that's not all. From 7 p.m, Malmesbury Community Radio are broadcasting an evening's listening on Aldhelm, Malmesbury and the Abbey's influences across Europe. The programme includes, at 7 o'clock, From Malmesbury to Hersfeld, Anglo-Saxon Malmesbury and the conversion of Germany to Christianity. At 8 p.m, it's Riddles and Music. Can you answer the riddles of Aldhelm? And at 9 o'clock, it's Monastic Chant of the Anglo-Saxons, the music of paradise. Do listen in with the rest of us. But before I go and log on to Zoom for Tony's talk, I'd like to say a huge thank you to everyone who's made today's events possible. It's a fantastic team. It's been great fun producing, and we really hope that you've enjoyed yourselves. We look forward to seeing you again soon. Thank you.